mass media.
What are some of the biggest things that you've learned through this project?
Sitting down with Eddie, I never in a million years thought I would hear him say, Shirley was not the same Shirley. I never imagined this project solving mysteries and answering questions for everybody else involved. I intended for them to answer my questions. I never intended for me to contact these people and for them to be asking me questions. And then I realized just the lack of closure that so many people involved in Shirley's life and involved in her stories had. One of the biggest ones is Patty Wells. For years, I could not find her. I thought I was chasing her ghost. I would Google her obituary. I couldn't find anything. I was like, Patty literally disappeared after 1986. I was like, maybe she was put in the witness protection program. She ended up moving, leaving Arizona shortly after this had happened. So nobody called her. Like, that's crazy to me. Nobody called her. It was Patty Wells that got Sharon to the ranger station and they made that 911 call. And if Patty Wells had never made that 911 call, the barricade never would have been set up at the base of the mountain and they never would have caught him. Another big one, my fear was Steve Skaggs. I have been so afraid of him since hearing this story and seeing Shirley visibly afraid of him, knowing 20 years ago when she got a letter saying he was going to be released from prison in a couple years, her worry that he might come after her. And you don't know, right? These are irrational fears. But those fears seeped into me, and for 20 years I lived with it. I never, I knew I had to call him, but I couldn't see anything past that.
And now, the story of Christmas magic, blind dates, and my stepmother Shirley, letting go of it all. I'm Amanda Fallon, and this is the Shirley You Can't Be Serious podcast.
I've blocked a lot of that out of my head because it wasn't a good time in my life once all this happened. I try to let that go and go on with my life. And right now my life is awesome, and so I'm happy. And so this is where I live now, and I just don't go back there.
And like I said, this was kind of the dark, hard side of the story. But there's 1,000 little things that she did, not just right, but really well, or even exemplary in shining through for us kids. And like I said, we might not always feel it in the moment because it's overshadowed by other griefs, burdens, or whatnot. But given a moment for that to pass and people reminding you, I heard it from him all the time. Your mom's worried about you. You should call your mom.
They're the fastest metal cars you've ever seen. Mattel's new Hot Wheels. Collect them by themselves or get them in wild new action sets, like the drag race action set. Get Mattel's new Hot Wheels. The fastest metal cars you've ever seen.
On the good side, like I said, as I was growing up, I remember one of the things for Christmas, all my friends, we were in the Hot Wheels, 5-year-olds, and everybody got those suitcases that open up into little cities. Well, I didn't know that we couldn't afford stuff like that. I didn't think. My mom had a very talented way of making Christmas look big. And if you look back at the photographs and stuff and you see that the tricks, well, she'd go out and buy a bunch of pool inflatable animals, right? So there's a big blow-up dolphin over here. There's another big blow-up toy here, and so the tree is surrounded by all these big gifts and stuff, but, there aren't really any gifts under the tree as far as what normal people would think of. But what she had done for me that one year, she had saved all the cracker cereal boxes and stuff like that. And she had papered them over, turned them all in the houses and everything, and had a big bed sheet that she drew out a city, roads and everything, you know. And so my friends would come over, and as little kids, they just, you know, they'd pull out their matchbox and we'd hook them up. So it was all the big sheet, but I have the coolest one. It was the biggest and the coolest, and all these buildings and everything that she had made. So I had no idea that we were poor at all. And like the bicycle that she gave me, she had painted it emerald green and that glitter, silver glitter paint. She had pinstriped the thing with it and everything. So, you know, I had a cool bike, and, you know, so she knew how to make it look like I said, I had no idea we were poor when I was little.
Shirley Carroll was recently selected as the new coordinator for Providence Hospital's auxiliary and volunteer programs.
At Paws Patrol.
The feeling.
Her new
that
responsibilities
she
include
brought
recruiting
to our
adult and
lives.
teenage volunteer
The
workers,
first place for shorthand and overall secretary excellence.
assisting the
Had
auxiliary
so
in
many
planning and
puzzle
sponsoring
makers
of fundraising
going on.
projects,
Very creative. She
She
loved working with children.
and coordinating a
She
formal
loved
orientation program for
She
all
loved going
volunteers.
to Utah.
She did
Your homecoming
she
queen.
did make the best of everything.
She was secretary.
Perfect attendance.
I think she was on the board, maybe.
Shirley was just a real blessing to our company.
She was always there.
The new director for Bible Ministries.
She believed the best in people.
August 9th, 1983, Coraine gave me a curly perm. Looked like bear, didn't turn out quite as I hoped for. August 29th, 1983, Eddie's 19th birthday. I told him he could have some friends stop after the fair for pizza. He brought home 15. March 1st, 1984. Ed has been working with the mortician. He's teaching him to do embalming. December 31st, had 8 teenagers over watching scary movies to celebrate New Year's Eve. January 5th, 1983, both kids homesick today. January 16th, 1983, went shopping with Coraine, got Coraine 2 pairs of pants and 4 shirts. Not on sale, clothes came to $177. April 6th, 1983, Coraine decorated the dining room with balloons and streamers for my birthday. Mother's Day 1983, Eddie bought me a beautiful pair of hiking boots. May 18th, 1983, found Eddie the watch he wanted for graduation. It has a stopwatch, alarm, and 14 lines of memory. He can put in all his girlfriends' names and phone numbers. It was on sale for $88. June 2nd, 1983, Dan and Leslie came in today. June 8th, 1983, picked up tickets for Hawaii. Kids are getting along so well. I can't believe it. Coraine has been so sweet to Leslie, plays games with her, takes her places. All 4 sit and talk till all hours of the morning. June 10th, 1983, took kids shopping for Steve's birthday present and Father's Day present. June 25th, 1983, celebrated Steve and Dan's birthday. Sent Dan all over house hunting for his presents. July 17th, 1983, took kids to Sears for the family portrait. The only way they'd all go without grumbling was to take them to Chuck E. Cheese's afterwards. July 24th, 1983, Steve, Dan, Les, and I went fishing at Caswell. July 27th, 1983, Leslie and I baked a pineapple upside-down cake. I dropped a glass and the glass splatted into the cake mix and all over the floor and counter. August 4th, 1983, Steve woke me up this morning. First time I've seen or talked to him since Sunday. Eddie had an interview at the hospital for runner. He came down to tell me he got the job, then headed out the door for home. About 5 minutes later, I came out of my office to find Eddie still wandering around the hospital. He couldn't find his way to the door. March 24th, 1983, had a dream Coraine got bit by Dracula, told her not to let him bite her a 3rd time or she'd turn into a vampire. Her reply was, "But he's so cute." Signed up for calligraphy and landscaping class. Easter 1983 bought everyone little gifts. Octopus was one. Eddie threw it at wall. Chrissy jumped up and grabbed it, took it under bed and growled at it for 2 hours. Went to dinner at North Slope. Eddie wasn't hungry, only had one large omelet, 14 pieces of bacon, dish of fruit, pastry, crescent roll, 2 French toast, and a Coke.
There's 1,000 little things that she did, not just right, but really well.
So I just thank God I had 23 years with her.
We all grew up with different versions of Shirley. After my own mother passed away, Shirley's bond with me and then my children was enhanced. She fully embraced and stepped into the perfect role of grandma, the grandma that bakes and reads and plays. Through that, our bond grew deeper. The flaws that I found in Shirley became part of our bond and were more her charm. Her horrible cooking, her unwillingness to lose a card game, and her innate ability to not let things go, like expired food. I was 15 years old when my dad married Shirley. Eddie and Corinne were in their 30s with lives of their own. Eddie and I are related not so much by nature, but by nurture. We were brought together through Shirley. On one occasion, Shirley expressed her desire to write her memoir and started to, but ended up shelving it because she felt it was too dark. So she never completed, and I have vowed to continue it for her. Because she couldn't tell the story herself, I have had everyone close to her help in doing it. In the process, I have gotten to know her so much more, hearing about the Shirley that they knew. Okay, so I am recording.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
I'm okay.
I started recording Shirley in 2019, not knowing that this was going to be a podcast. I was recording Shirley to help her write her memoir, in a book form. So start recording her, and a year later, I listened to that podcast, S-Town, and I was like, oh my gosh, this actually would make a great podcast. But I knew nothing about podcasts. I had no idea how I was going to do it. And literally within a few months, I met my cousin's new wife, Otavia McHenry, and she's a true crime podcaster. And she was super interested in the story. And at first she was like, oh, I'd love to be your mentor. And I'm like, great, because I need one because I have no idea what I'm doing. And then it evolved, a couple months later, she's like, actually, I'd love to team up with you. This is a great story. And to her, the great story was the cold case, Joan Marie Archer, because she's an investigative journalist. So she's like, let's solve it. At this point in time, she had done Missing Alyssa. So now she's married to my cousin and she's working on one. And she even told me, she's like, I've got to finish up this podcast and then I want to work with you. I was like, great. So we team up and we worked together for 2 years. It was 2021 through 2023. And in those 2 years, we realized these could be 2 different stories. Otavia's focus shifted to the cold case because that's what she specializes in. And in the meantime, I took all the elements of the Shirley story you're hearing now, my stepmother's story. And it's now the Shirley You Can't Be Serious podcast. And Otavia is focusing on Joan Marie Archer. And super excited to, hear what she does with it and looking forward to it when it comes out.
Yes, the road to Mount Lemmon is still closed. In fact, you can see Pima County Sheriff's deputies talking with a couple of cars right there, and you can see out in the distance that road closed sign. Now, coming up at 6 o'clock, you will hear from a family who was up on the mountain.
Now, let's go back to Mount Lemmon. The events that led to a gruesome scene, witnessed by a 10-year-old boy. In our phone call with Jamie, he expressed a need for answers.
I was so young. It was an event in life. It was one of those things that was my age, obviously. And like I said, I didn't even understand the whole sequence of events exactly or what was going on at the ranger station. So as I got older and I became more interested in, my daughter's going to get her master's to be a forensic scientist. So, we got into, true crime and stuff like that. And then I got into risk management, and it correlates because I became a professional skip tracer, which gave me the ability to really find anybody I wanted to with the tools that I had. And, he was always in the back of my mind, like, what happened? And one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to look this guy up and see what's going on. And I saw that he was out of prison and located his phone number and just wanted to, like, I don't know. I wanted to ask him, just let him know that it still affected me. I'm not a victim. I told him I'm not a victim by any means. But, that was a very, very impressionable thing in my life and always has been. And it's bothered me, like just the whole situation. And I just wanted to know why he did it. And, he blamed it on his wife at the time. He was just mad at women in general. So he didn't have the guts to hurt her, allegedly. So he went and found those women. And that's basically, in a nutshell, how he explained it. And, I told him that's a cowardly thing. I said it's weak, and he said it was. And, the craziest part, even with the little sporadic details I remember about our conversation, the weirdest thing about it is at the end, he asked me if I could locate their information and give it to him, like I found him, so he could say he was sorry at the end of our conversation. That was the biggest thing that I took away from our conversation. I mean, he sounded genuine, and he didn't one time come across as like pompous or arrogant or like anybody deserved anything. He was very apologetic. Anyway, either way, it was a simple conversation. It was maybe, I walked out of my office. I was actually at work, and it was probably 10 minutes. And never felt the need to reach out to him again, but it was pretty much what I expected. He just sounded like a very logical old man, did not sound like a psychopath, didn't sound like anything, but again, just asking me for that stuff. I think logical people wouldn't do that. How about that?
So yeah. So I
how
did
about
listen
that?
to your
I mean, that was
interview.
creepy as hell. I couldn't believe it. I was like, this guy is really nuts.
Okay, well, you're gonna absolutely freak out right now because I flew out to Arizona in February and had lunch with the guy.
Shut the fuck up. I just got goosebumps. Oh my God.
So honestly,
I have goosebumps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
How did that go?
Well, we're gonna leave Jamie hanging for a little bit. We do answer that question. But first, on the topic of being left hanging, Patty Wells never knew what happened to anyone after that day on Mount Lemmon. She's had no closure for 40 years.
So I never knew. I never even knew, to make sure that they were okay. And
So you've lived all these years not knowing if she survived or not?
No, I did not know. I did not know. I after that, because I've had a lot of trauma in my life. I just started trauma therapy, but I just was, it was just like, why?
So not knowing, sorry, this is just shocking to me. So never knowing what happened that day, and you ended up moving to
Lower Michigan and Grand Traverse County.
Yeah, did you ever think about that day, or did you just kind of block it out and go on with your life?
It's so weird. I kind of blocked it out, but it's so weird. About 3 weeks ago, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about, I don't know what brought it up, and I hadn't thought about it in a while.
About 3 weeks ago, it was probably me being like, I really need to find Patty Wells.
So talk a little bit about Sharon.
Sharon, she was the one that ran into you and you helped.
Right.
You were her guardian angel that day. Sharon moved to Oregon with her son shortly after this.
And you said he was 16 at the time?
He was 16 at the time.
Poor guy.
Yeah, he said he got home from high school that day and thought it was weird that his mom wasn't home, and he turned on the news and the whole story was on the news. He told me he had a gut feeling that it was his mom.
Oh my God.
So,
poor thing.
Yeah. So they moved to Oregon for a while, and then Sharon, actually, she's the one that passed away from cancer in 2000.
Cancer.
Yeah, and I never got a chance to meet Sharon or talk with her. And then it's that lives in Tucson. And she was 27 that day. So she was close to your age.
Yeah, she didn't seem that old. I remember that. And so the way you're connected is
Shirley. So Shirley was married to Stephen Skaggs. That was the guy you saw.
At the time.
At the time.
At the time.
So I knew that there was 2 women, but I never knew their names or what happened to them that day. It wasn't until I received all of the court transcripts and police reports, and that's how I found you, was that I learned the full story.
Wow.
And the other family that found, there was actually a 10-year-old boy in the car, and I interviewed him, and he remembers that day pretty well.
Oh, the other family.
Yeah, there was another family up there that was picnicking that ran into and asked for help. And so they did the same thing you guys did. They drove her to the Palisades Ranger Station.
Yeah. Did you find a Fran or Jan?
No, in fact, I was hoping you knew where they were.
No, I have no idea.
You 3 are hard to find, but I'm going to keep looking for them. If I find them, I will definitely put you guys in touch.
Oh, please share my number with them.
I will.
I'm just so glad they survived. And I'm sorry that you had to live with the trauma. Oh my goodness, your stepmom.
But she was shocked. She couldn't believe he did this. That's the crazy thing.
Of course she couldn't.
Yeah, he hadn't.
You believe someone you love and you sleep with and you have in your house would do such a thing.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, those children. The children had to do that. They had to keep doing it. Oh.
Does this name sound familiar to you? Joan Marie Archer?
No.
She was a 25-year-old bicyclist that lived in Tucson. And in April that year, she disappeared. And the day of the Mount Lemmon crime, her body was found.
No. They didn't solve the case?
No, it's still a cold case. But we're going to talk about her too in this story, and I'm hoping that it, just brings awareness. And I mean, you never know what will come of this.
Oh, I had no idea. Where was she? Where was she found?
She was found a mile outside of San Javier Mission, over by Black Mountain. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but she was super close to San Javier Mission.
I was just over there today. How weird.
Yeah, she used to ride her bike there and light a candle. She was Catholic.
So that poor woman's family, oh God, oh wow. How did you have to live through this? When did you start?
So I guess I really never had to live through anything that you or Sharon or lived through that day at all. But my stepmom married my dad in 2001. So I was 15 years old. And so I was told about the story, right? And I was told,
Who told that to you?
My dad told me, and then my stepmother's daughter told me, and then eventually my stepmom talked about it. So I kind of always knew what happened that day without really knowing. And I knew he was in prison, and I knew she was scared. So that fear kind of came into me. And
Of course.
Yeah, so...
Oh gosh.
Yeah, and it's affected my life in weird ways. Like, I'll never hike alone. I won't do a lot of stuff alone.
It's changed my behavior, but I never let it, just like I won't let bad people change me. I won't let people take my trust away, because I know there's more good people out there than bad people. But I won't let people take away, I won't let people take away from me. I won't let those bad people, but I will be aware, and I won't put myself into situations. And listen to your gut. If there's anything that you take away from this in a personal level, don't ever discount your gut feeling. That limbic system that you have, don't discount it. Take heed with it.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and in a way, I'm kind of facing my fears by doing this, by telling my stepmom's story. So
If she hadn't been as brave, we wouldn't be talking. Well, sweetheart, how old are you now, honey?
I'm 40. So I was 2.
Have you ever gone to trauma counseling? One thing, as a 63-year-old who's been through a lot of different things, and I so admire you as a young person that I wish I hadn't waited, but I highly recommend, especially if you have children. Do you have children, Amanda?
I do. I have 2 children. They're actually big children now.
Wow. Well, congratulations. That's beautiful. But totally consider it. Totally consider it, especially having to go through this. This is not just nothing. Please consider it and don't let things go, because it changes your central nervous system.
But yeah, maybe you're the push I need right now.
Yeah, or even just really addressing it with the anxiety and stuff, with this, somatic training, and there's been so much breakthroughs on neuroscience and a lot of different things, but I wish I had been able to do it earlier. You have to take care of yourself, and obviously you've done so well and whatnot, but don't discount that, I guess is what I'm saying, the toll that it can take.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
This memoir is going to be obviously, I'm sure, cathartic in so many ways, and also rewarding. My goodness.
It's been good.
When you say we, who is included in the we?
So the we is me and my boyfriend. And my boyfriend is the editor, producer, art director. So I'm telling the story and he's putting it together. He's doing all the tech stuff.
Wonderful that you have that support.
Yes, yeah. It would not be happening without him. I'm at that stage of the creative process. Just has to get out there.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But I interview a lot with my stepbrother, Eddie, who's in his 50s. He's a little bit older than me. He has a lot of good life advice. And there's this underlying theme to the whole podcast, which is kind of focuses on redemption and forgiveness. And just life's not black and white, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people can judge Shirley and be like, how can you stay married to somebody for 7 years like that? And we're just kind of telling her full story so that you can get a better understanding of why we do some of the things we do. And it's not so much, the world just isn't good and bad. There's a huge gray area.
That's the thing, is that all of these horrific, twisted, sick people, they all have partners that they're lying and these lives and the military. You tell me, I'm sorry, but I'm so sick of it. You know damn well the military, and I'm sorry, his buddies knew what a sick fuck he was. I'm sorry to be so frank.
No, I appreciate it. And no, there's been some stuff that I've uncovered in my research where I'm like, did the military cover that up? But I will definitely, you'll have to listen to the story. We talk about it all. She was ready to tell her story. And I think that happens a lot with people as they age.
Oh, yeah.
You're ready. Like 10 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, she was not ready.
Oh, no.
So,
no. Yeah.
And she tried. She tried to write her own, and she was an amazing writer. She would have done an amazing biography. But she just wasn't ready to tell her story. She wasn't ready for the world to hear it. She shared a lot with me, and she had a hard life. And she was I think what intrigues me so much about her was she just saw the positive in everything. Like, she went through some really dark times and really traumatic, like shocking, not just dark, but like shocking. Like finding out that your husband is going to jail for 30 years with no warning and never seeing that side to him. She made, even through all of that, like I've interviewed her old employers and some past friends, like they all describe her as lighthearted, calm, always finding the positive in everything, even joking about. She was I guess the best way to explain it was she was always in survival mode.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
Well, it's hard. It's very nice to meet you. I hope that, I'm sorry that it was such an arduous task to find me, but
I'm just so glad I found, actually, it was my boyfriend that found you.
I've got a love in that.
Yeah. I honestly wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And yourself and all of your family and all of the people that were affected.
Thanks, Patty.
Yeah. Sweetie, I absolutely wish you the best. And do please take to heart that you must help heal yourself too. Don't let it go till you're 60.
Okay, well, promise.
Bless you, sweetheart. I wish you and Josh, Amanda, the absolute best, and all of the positive stuff that is going to come out of your diligence and the absolute, I think, relief that your stepmom will have.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, take care, sweetheart.
Okay, thanks, Patty. Have a good evening.
You
Bye.
too.
Another form of closure that came from working on this project was the reconnection of Roger and Keith. September 14th, 2025.
I have memories of you, Keith, and your interaction with Joan, and I shared them with Amanda. And then I heard the podcast and you're part of it, and it was like exactly as I recall. Just like the way you spoke about her was how I remember. Just like, so we saw you were like a really awesome guy, and you guys deserved each other. It just seemed like had a good thing down there.
I don't know if Amanda told you, but you know, after I heard that podcast, I told her, I says that Roger was so eloquent in the way that he described Joan. And he was also said some really nice things about me too. But yeah, you really described her to the T. I mean, that was Joan. After Joan disappeared, you know, the family basically cut me completely off, and I don't think it was, now that I've listened to Roger talk about the family, I don't think it was like anything that I did. It was more that's just the way the Archer family was, and it kind of gave me some closure as to, you know, why all of a sudden, you know, they wouldn't even send a Christmas card, or because I would send them cards and stuff like that.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't you. Gosh, I hate to hear that.
But you gave me closure in that podcast by saying what you said about the family, and I realized, well, because I always felt that, you know, because of the isolation, that they probably blamed me for, you know, whatever happened to Joan, and it meant a lot to me to hear what you said.
Yeah, I never heard your name mentioned in any kind of ill light or anything like that at all. It's just, they just were not close, and I hate you thought that for so long. Jeez. And the other thing I wanted to say to you is, like, I really looking that you often still think of Joan fondly, and that's really special. I love to hear that, and that's in my portion of the podcast. I was saying a lot of people who knew Joan are, you know, passing on now, and even Amanda, to hear that other people are out there thinking about her fondly and caring about her in some fashion, it's very meaningful to me. Amanda, when you asked me what life would be like, and I know Joan was going into teaching, and just think about how many hundreds and hundreds of kids would have got to meet her and spend a year with her, and she would be that kind of teacher everyone comes back after graduation to see. She would have been that kind of teacher you talk about.
She definitely would have been. Definitely would have been.
Yeah, she would have been, not to overstate it, but thousands of young people's lives in a very positive way. The more I think about it, just, you know, there's all these other tragedies intertwined with it. It's just tough to think about sometimes. If you go on the website, Keith, there's a couple of videos on there of her training Toby and us practicing, and there's some other stuff, but I'll drop you a line with some good photos. I'm happy you care. That's awesome.
One of the big motivations for this call was, for me, it's been such a voyeuristic, almost perch to go through all of these interviews and things, and I'll hear Keith say something, and I'll hear Roger say something, and Amanda and I, we sit here, we're like, wait, and it's not just you two, it's everybody in the project. You know, you hear one of Shirley's brothers say that, oh, you know, I think Shirley might have caught wind of this, and then Shirley in another interview says, oh no, I was in on the plan. Like I knew this thing all along. And there's so many stories that have just never in 40 years intersected. And that I think has been the most, for me, astounding, right? Like life is full of misconnections by just moments. And then you can go 40 years not knowing. And so I think your two messages to Amanda were the ones that kind of really stopped us in our tracks to just kind of, sometimes you just let nature do this thing, but sometimes it's like, no, I'm going to intervene. But it's been super rewarding to hear, we're flooded in really dark crime stories. And then to hear people have really human experiences, that's been for me, it's been the most rewarding thing. And it's not so much a closure thing. It's more of perhaps it's a processing thing and an acceptance. It's been really an interesting experiment to sit with other humans and see where they are in their healing. And to be honest with you, there's plenty of people within these stories that still aren't ready. And this has been like, for me, the biggest challenge is these stories are so delicate, right? Like I'm sitting here at 1 a.m. with my headphones on, hearing Roger in the most vulnerable story about being in a donut shop.
You know what struck me was the innocence of Roger in that donut shop. Oh, well, let me know when she comes back. Yeah. There was nothing like in Roger's mind that thought for 1 second that Joan wasn't going to come back. He was just like, yeah, Mom, just let me know when she comes back.
Even the choice that we made to still talk plenty about Joan, even though that project has evolved, we want to tell the human side of Joan. We want to talk to the people that love Joan and that were there feeling the loss of Joan.
Yeah. Well, the other good thing, I think, of how Eddie talked about how bad his life was and stuff, but then he remembered good things. Well, it's easy to dwell on the bad things. We dwell all the time on those, but to bring those good memories to light is probably one of the best things that the podcast has done.
We haven't taken lightly any of the decisions that we've made in the storytelling to make sure that, the Joan story is it was just a very tricky story to tell because there's so many facets to it that are really charged.
You guys just been very respectful to me and to Joan, and I'm sure Keith would say the same thing.
Absolutely.
I just appreciate how you treated her and our family.
There's enough emotional damage that's been done through all of these stories that healing feels like a much better outcome through all of them. And that's why this call is so meaningful, to have you guys just both come in and, both full of goodwill and gratitude. And that's seeing Amanda's dad get super emotional and excited, and hearing Eddie, and we had lunch with Patty Wells, and she's just the most adorable woman. And she sat with Amanda, and she's like, Amanda, don't get to your 60s with this trauma. You need to deal with it now. But thank you so much for sharing with us.
Yeah, I really thank the two of you guys a lot for just being so open and willing to talk to me as I worked through this story.
And I hope it's only been positive for you guys.
Yeah, that's our biggest.
Oh, it has been.
Really worried. So.
It has been. It's been a wonderful story. I didn't know what to expect, but after that, it's been like so connecting and so good to hear. The last episode was the best one for me. It's about Joan. Yeah. Just hurry up and get 6 out.
Yeah, I owe a big thanks to everyone on this call. I appreciate it. I appreciate you thinking about Joan and the family. It's meaningful to me, that's for sure. Keith, thank you so much.
Thank you too, Roger.
Let's talk a little bit more about how Shirley came into my life. This is my dad, Steve. Yes, I think Shirley had a thing for guys named Steve.
But this podcast kind of made me think of Shirley in terms that I never knew about her, that she never really explained to me. And it doesn't make me think any less of her. She just changed. She became a better person. And I got to reap the benefits of it. And, I didn't steal cars. I didn't go to jail. I wasn't in prison. Hi, you've reached Steve. I can't come to the phone right now, but leave me a message.
Hi, Steve. Don't forget, we're meeting at the Kingfisher tomorrow night. We have someone for you to meet. Don't be late.
My name is Steve Kargel, and I was married to Shirley for 23 years. I met her on a blind date set up by a mutual friend of ours. And she told me that she wasn't interested in anyone with 2 teenage girls. So we met up at a Kingfisher restaurant in Tucson, Arizona. And I was the last one to show up, and they rearranged all the seating so I'd be right across from Shirley.
Did you know it was a blind date?
Yeah, I did know.
Did Shirley know it was a blind date?
She knew. That's why she said she wasn't interested. It was 2000.
2000? Yeah, so I would have been 15, and then Ash would have been 12.
12. We hit it off really good at the dinner. Yes, I was dating someone else at the time, but I knew right off the bat that she was the one I was going to marry. What they told me about Shirley was that she was big-breasted, as if that was going to make me happy with her. But
Wait, what?
I'm just telling the truth.
I've never heard that part to the story.
No, what made me fall in love with her, or at least like her, was our conversation. And she had beautiful eyes that smiled, and her big smile was really attractive. So that's what made me attracted to her.
So you go on the blind date, you like her, and then I'm assuming you asked her out again, and you guys had like an official first date.
It was months later. She wanted me to go to a party that her sister and her family came in from Ohio, and you were there. And that was
the first date?
That was the first date after the meeting at the Kingfisher restaurant. Then our first date after that was just like the next weekend.
The Catalina Highway, also known as the Mount Lemmon Scenic Byway or General Hitchcock Highway, is a 27-mile paved road leading from Tucson to the summit of Mount Lemmon in Arizona. The highway is famous for dramatic elevation changes, creating a journey from the hot Sonoran Desert to cool pine forests with diverse ecosystems. It is a popular destination for scenic drives, hiking, and exploring the Coronado National Forest with a staggering elevation gain of over 6,000 feet, with significant changes in temperature and a variety of unique ecosystems. The drive showcases a biological transition from the desert floor to a high-elevation forest with scenic overlooks, picnic areas, and campgrounds. Numerous pull-out areas offer stunning views of the landscape, canyons, and rock formations. The road to Mount Lemmon is a perfect setting for Steve and Shirley's first date.
So I had a T-Bird that was in the shop, and I borrowed my mom's Cadillac. And everything was fine. I'm not a mechanic, but the car was not working right. And it had a reader on there saying what was wrong with the car, and I pushed the button and it said everything's fine. And smoke was coming out. So we were going up Mount Lemmon, and we didn't make it to the top because it's too smoking. And so we pulled over. We took a little hike, and I helped her down the cliff, or it was about 3 feet. And I was holding her hand, and then I was holding the limb back, and somehow the limb got loose from my hand and smacked her right in the face. And she was impressed because I didn't get upset or anything like that. So we had a nice time up there. We let the car cool down for about an hour, and then we just kind of coasted down the Mount Lemmon Highway. And we had to push it into the gas station because it was smoking a lot by then. So I called my friend up, and he came, and we had a dinner. The three of us had a dinner that night. So that was our first date, and it's just progressed. We dated for a whole year. It was really good.
Okay, so back up. You said Shirley was impressed that you didn't get mad at the car overheating or smacking her in the face with the brand.
Over the car.
Oh, okay. Just
Her previous husband would blame her for everything. And,
which one?
yeah. So I didn't blame her over anything. We never fought. I told her about 5 times that I don't want to talk to you right now. And that was it. And 5 minutes would go by and we were back as friends. Half hour later, never more than 8 hours. So, we were best friends. She was so easy to be with. She was an amazing person. And she never said that to me. She said, I'll put out a yellow rose if we need to talk, serious. And the yellow rose never came out. So she is a really good person. She liked country music, and I didn't like country music. All that twangy stuff. Family was very important to both of us. God was very important to both of us. We were at the same stage spiritually, same place. We all grow up with handicaps or, dysfunctional things. And maybe she wasn't any more than any other person, but she was amazing. Yeah, we just believed the same things of God. We were at the same stage in our lives. There wasn't I believe this and you believe that, and there's no differences. God created us all. He sent Jesus down to earth to forgive us of our sins, died, rose again. And so we have a relationship with Jesus. She went to a charismatic church, actually like Assembly of God, Pentecostal church. And she was healed. She had really bad arthritis where she wouldn't be able to work. And she got healed of that at that service. And she accepted Christ as her personal Lord and Savior and asked God to forgive her and all that. And so that started her whole journey with God. So, not to detract what she did as a Catholic when she was young, because she had a relationship with God. And it just evolved into a real permanent personal relationship.
So you guys would pray together. You went to the same church.
Same church, pray together. But we're always together. So I don't consider myself a prayer warrior. I do pray, but she was a prayer warrior. And she'd pray a lot. Well, I never knew her dad, but she talked about her dad often. And so I kind of knew her dad just from, she said he was grumpy. He was an alcoholic when he came back from the war, and she just stayed away from him. But in his last day, she was up there at his house, and he knew he was dying. He accepted Jesus, and he was singing a Christian song, marching. He was ready to die, and she was very happy. And she helped him through the whole process.
And she often prayed in tongues, right?
Yep.
Tongues are big.
Yeah, we both pray in tongues. And so to both of us, God is just he's like our best friend. He's like our father. He's like our friend or a savior. And he's just our healer or everything. We both felt that, Before we met, we were at that stage. Yep, God was the center. Yeah. Oh, I wouldn't change a thing in Shirley. She loved God. She loved me. She loved our family. She's just a loving person.
Honestly, I think my dad is having the hardest time because he was married to Shirley for 23 years. And obviously, we're all different people in different phases of our lives and our different chapters that we go through. We all grow, we all evolve. So my dad had Shirley in her last 23 years of her chapter, her last 23 years of life. And so he's hearing stories from her earlier chapters in life that he had no idea about. He could never imagine Shirley making those choices, because that wasn't the Shirley he was married to.
But do you think that also presents a humanity?
It does. It does. And I think him and Eddie are really close. They go and grab lunch weekly. They've always been really close, but since Shirley's passing, their bond has grown deeper. And he sees the healing that Eddie is doing and his healing with his mom, and I think that that's been very rewarding for my dad.
And with my mom, I hope that maybe there'll be a moment like that I had with my granddad to help bring closure to some of the things we've talked about with our life. So, and then I also know that it takes time to go through different grieving processes. And so I just kind of chalk it up to that at the moment, that you have to go through those kinds of things, and everybody grieves in different ways, and for me, for the most part, it's just dismissive and not think about it too much. So it's kind of nice what you've done here for me to kind of vocalize some of that pain and grief, and having done so, or in doing so, it makes it less. It takes the sharpness of it away. And I can already feel that, like, why so hurt? Why so offended? And because it starts those little wheels turning about, well, what was going on in other person's life, as to why things end up the way they did, and let alone why you feel the way that you feel. And like I said, there was a sympathy that came out of understanding my dad from meeting my grandfather that, like I said, had a lot of power to break all of those hurts and animosities. And I just haven't talked about her. Just don't talk about her for now, to give myself time to work through those things. And I'm confident that there is a break like that. There is something that will dislodge those kinds of feelings and smooth it over. I don't know what it is, or where it is, or when it is, but having experienced that with my dad, then one, I know it's possible, and not only it being possible, but it's necessary. Necessary because what was I trapped in before that? Hate, animosity, anger. And so thank you guys, for bringing the opportunity. And now when I look back on my mom's life, her, like the rest of us, went through lots of growth and changes. People change along the way and grow and come to value things that they didn't, even if it's like me as a little kid who totally doesn't value the gift that somebody gives me, and in short order come to understand the value of gifts. And even like when I was looking at that photograph that he had of my grandpa, and it was like, yeah, it was the last time I spoke to him, and it could have been so much more, but no, I had to go smoke weed in the sticks and take care of me and blow off that one last opportunity that you had to spend with your grandfather. And those prices are what make it so that it doesn't, hopefully you don't make that mistake again. And now I make it a point to say I love you when I hang up the phone, when I'm talking to somebody I care about, because you never know. You just never know when that's the last time. Well, I am Edward Barton Carroll Jr. And Shirley Jean Barrett was my mom and brought me into this world along with my sister, Coraine Jean Carroll. So, yeah, that's who I am.
That's perfect. Thanks, Eddie. February 9th, 2025. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
That's weird.
I got this. Okay.
Hello?
Hi, is this Steve?
Yes.
Hi, Steve. My name's Amanda. You don't know me, but I'm Shirley's stepdaughter.
You are?
I am. I'm just calling. Well, first, I want to let you know that Shirley has passed away.
I found out a few months ago.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I was reading in the paper and I just accidentally.
Okay. I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you hear me okay?
Give me just one moment, please.
Okay.
Hopefully this will help.
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit better. How are you? Hopefully I just found out it's Super Bowl Sunday, so are you watching the game?
Oh, it doesn't start for another hour.
Okay. I'll be quick. You're probably wondering why I'm calling you. I wanted to let you know that before Shirley passed away, she kept a couple journals, and some of those journals were of her time up in Alaska with you. And I've been reaching out to everybody that knew her and getting their stories and their memories and collecting, just lots of stuff that happened in Shirley's life. So I thought I would call you too. But yeah, so I was just curious if you'd be willing to chat with me.
Okay.
I'm going to actually be in Phoenix next weekend. Would you be willing to meet up?
Sure. Where are you? Where do you live?
I'm actually in Utah, so I'm a little far away.
Yeah.
And I would say
since we shall we say discontinued our life together, the way I found out about her passing was I was just curious, and I looked up on my phone to see where she was at nowadays, and it said a couple of different things, and it said that she had passed away. I guess it was last year or the year before.
Yeah, she passed away in September of 2023.
Yeah.
And she lived in Tucson.
I was kind of shocked by that.
Yeah, you know what? We all were. She was only 78 years old, and it kind of came on pretty fast.
What was it?
So she got COVID, and I just feel like she never fully recovered from being sick.
Oh, wow.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, I was really, I noticed that she was really involved in helping animals.
Yes, she helped run an organization called Paws Patrol, where they rescued feral kittens and cats off the street.
Would you believe I've got about 9 feral cats living in my backyard?
No, but I do know that you guys would have lots of animals up in Alaska all the time.
Oh, we had some wonderful animals up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to just sit down with you and get some of these stories.
Yeah, it's I'm just trying to think of things right now because I'm just surprised by the call.
Yeah, I'm sorry for, it's probably kind of a shock. Okay, so here's a funny little fact for you. So she married my dad in 2001, and his name is also Steve.
It's also Steve?
Yes.
Well, but she didn't have to learn anything new.
Nope, so that was an easy one for her.
And how is he?
He's doing okay. He really misses her. They were married for 23 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
You probably know all about my ups and downs.
Yeah, I won't lie. I do know the story.
There's no reason to lie. I don't lie about it.
Yeah, you know what though? Shirley, it was just, she told us matter of fact, this is what happened, but she never said anything bad about you. Obviously, I think she was sad, sad that it happened.
Well, that was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And I realized I was really lost. I made a mistake with Shirley, and I'm not putting Shirley down any way on this. And so I had a lot of conflict going on in my head all the time. And Shirley never really knew that. And I just ended up doing stupid. Now, I made a commitment, never again will I, to the best of my knowledge, hurt anyone physically, mentally, anyway. I just wish I had really got all that stuff settled in me before I had met Shirley. And this world would be a little bit different then. You told me your name. I don't remember what it is.
It's Amanda.
Amanda.
Yep.
Anybody call you Mandy?
Actually, my whole family does. Shirley called me Mandy. Yep. Do you have a pen and a paper? You can write it down and I'll give you my phone number.
I'll have a pen and paper in a minute.
Okay.
At least I think I will. Yeah, I've wondered about you folks. I thought more than once that I would like to get a hold of Shirley and ask if I could come down there to Tucson to see how she's doing and her husband and everything. Because I wasn't at all upset with her getting married again. She deserves to have a good life.
Yeah, my dad will actually be with me next weekend if it's okay if I bring him.
I reckon it is.
Yeah, that might be kind of fun to have two of Shirley's husbands in the same room. So whenever a good time is for you, I'd love to come meet you.
Okay.
So, well, I'll let you get to the Super Bowl. I don't know where the game's at.
Well, I guess so. It should be in the second quarter now.
Yeah, sorry for keeping you so long. I'll be in touch with you and call me when you know what day works best for you too.
Will do.
Okay. Enjoy the game. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
There are still people out there we haven't talked to, and we hope to connect when the time is right for everyone.
Coming up next time.
What would you tell those two kids in the living room?
These two kids?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have known some strange things people have said right when they're dying.
There's a journal entry about the day 3 or 4 cops showed up at your house.
I kind of blame myself for that one falling apart. Well, I blame myself for everything falling apart, but
I just met the guy that I've been so scared of my entire life.